Hey y'all, it's Kim from Kim Dixon Creative. Again here today for TLC Designs for the my portion of the 7-day Christmas card project. Today I am going to be making a slimline card using the Gift of Joy stamp set. So what I have here is a small piece of watercolor cardstock. And I'm going to put it in my MISTI and stamp out the little image there of my little guy, Angel. And I'm going to use some water brush markers to sort of watercolor this image. You know, I'm not a watercolorer. Let's just go on and say that. I'm barely a colorer, let alone a watercolorer. But I'm going to stamp him out with some VersaFine ink, and actually I'm using my VersaFine Clear ink in Nocturne, and getting all that stamped out as well as my sentiment. I have that laid out as well, and I'm going to end up getting him colored up with my water brush markers. These are from Arteza. I don't use them often because I don't know really what I'm doing, but I've just got a little bit of water in that water brush there, and I think I had too much water, so I'm blotting that up. So I'm going to dry my little brush off some and add some color back in there to try to bleed that back out a little bit. So what I do when I use my water brush markers, I go into where I think the shadow should be, and that's where I put my color down first, and then I use my little water brush marker to pull that out. Sometimes you have to go back in several layers to get it done, so your first layer may not be dark enough, so you let that dry and then you go back in with that same color and pull some more out, and it will darken up. Your heat tool is a friend if you're impatient like me, and so in between colors sometimes I'll pull out my heat tool and dry that so that I can move on. Another tip for using these is if you don't use your heat tool, don't color sections right next to each other back to back. So if you're going to color, like I'm coloring his sash, and then I'm going to move up and color something around his face. So I don't try to color things next to each other in successive order, so that gives that section time to dry and you don't cross-contaminate your colors. That will happen. They'll bleed if it's still damp. So now I'm doing his hair, or part of his hair. I'm so not good at hair. I'm just not good at hair. I'm not good at hair with water brush markers. I'm not good at hair with pencils or with alcohol markers or anything, but I do the best that I can. And by doing this in watercolor, you're not trying to get a super realistic look anyway by doing watercoloring. It's going to be a little more ethereal looking, or just a little more just less, it will look less and less realistic when you're doing watercolor. So and let's just face it, nothing I do is very realistic when it comes to my coloring. But I love this little character here. He's so cute. Those huge eyes of his, I mean, could he be any cuter? I love these colors together, the green and the burgundy color of his sash, I think looks very pretty. I think the flesh tones that I chose for him turned out pretty good. I think that it looked good with his hair color. I did one earlier and I didn't like the flesh tone with the hair color that I chose. It didn't match. He kind of had red skin with dark, it just didn't match. The colors clashed. And so I was a little bit more pleased with the way that the skin tones came out compared to his hair color in this version. And I'm taking, now I've got some kind of an aqua blue, and just like I do my alcohol markers on my little wings, I put the deeper color up next to the body and just pulled it out, coloring up his wings. And you see me stop occasionally, and I'm trying to figure out where am I going next, what section needs more color next, versus what did I just color, because again, you don't want to color the same, you don't want to color sections next to each other in successive order. Trying to go in and give him a little texture to his hair. I think I did okay with that. I think it made him look like he had curly hair, and that's what I was going for. Give him a little brown tint in his eyes. And that's the good thing about these water brush markers. You can color just direct. You don't have to use water with them. It's just the way that I do it, because I'm not really good at choosing what color goes with what as far as picking out a dark, medium, light. And so this way I can go in and put my shadow down and blend that out with water, so that you know, it does give the appearance that I've used different shades. Gonna add some color to the little headband where the holly leaves and berries are. Those are very small sections, so I'm just going to color those directly down. And that's the one thing about watercolor. If you don't like what's there, if it's wet enough, you can blot it up, and that's what I did there on his little horn. And I'm using some of my metallic watercolors that I have, and that's what I'm using to add some shimmer to his wings, and also what I use to paint his little horn with, to give it a little bit of a metallic look. trying to decide what else it needs. And I think it needs some splatter. So I'm going to take my little fan brush there and just splatter the front of that card with my golden colored paint. And that fan brush is fabulous for this. You can just really get some really nice splatter with that. And I keep fighting with my box. It keeps wanting to close. Now go back in with some of the darker gold. To have a couple of different colors of splatter on my card front. I like it. I love the way it turned out. So for this card, because of the greens and the golds and the burgundies that I used, I'm going to use the digital paper pack called Classic Santa. I like the burgundies that are in there and the rich jewel tones that we're using. And so I'm just cutting some different mats to fit my card front on my little watercolor panel. My mini slimline card base is cut to 6.5 by 6 1/4, and I've scored it at 3 1/4. And I've just put that little burgundy mat down, and then I'm going to adhere my watercolored panel down to that. And I think he turned out really cute. I do like using mini slimlines quite a bit, so I think he turned out really good. So all of the products, the TLC products that I use will be linked below in the description box. My social media and my YouTube channel will be linked in the description box below. Give this video a thumbs up if you're enjoying this series. I'll be back tomorrow with day 6, and then the next day we'll finish up on day 7. Thank you so much for joining me on this little journey. I'm having a blast. Until next time, bye.